Well, I would say Benavidez, but he's too, that weight class is too high for him. So, where he's at now is great.
David, Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
Nah, I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
And Terence Crawford.
No.
Yeah. No, I ain't doing that fight. Maybe planning on vacating the belts?
No, we ain't gonna vacate the belts.
Coach Brian Bulmer McIntyre sparked some controversy after the fight when asked about Turki Alalshikh's suggestion that Terence Crawford should face David Benavidez next. Bulmer quickly dismissed the idea, stating that Crawford doesn't need that type of matchup at this point in his career.
Sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in the gym and do our thing.
Anis,
absolutely. And he don't want none.
He also explained to fans that a matchup with Boots Anis wouldn't benefit Canelo, emphasizing that Crawford is an entirely different level of fighter compared to Anis.
Performance prove about the Ennis sparring. You guys were largely
I told you it don't make no difference. Didn't I say it? I said that don't mean shit. I don't give a damn about that.
Yeah.
I said that, didn't I?
Yeah,
That was one of those interviews. I said that. Don't mean shit. Because he's no Bud Crawford. I'm not taking nothing from Ennis, Bozy, them over there, them my guys. Shit, but bringing in that, which is good for Canelo, but it didn't do no good in the fight.
The whole David Benavidez discussion began when Alalshikh, a prominent figure in Saudi boxing, tweeted just hours after Crawford's major victory. He congratulated Terence Crawford on his historic achievement, noting that he had become the first fighter to hold undisputed titles in 3 different divisions, and also thanked Canelo Alvarez for putting on an exciting performance. However, Alalshikh then sparked speculation with a seemingly simple question: can David Benavidez still make 168 pounds? This instantly set social media abuzz with talk of a potential matchup. Greg Hackett weighed in on the rumors, clarifying that no official decision had been made about a Crawford-Benavidez fight. He also suggested that the chatter seemed motivated more by money and attention than by what was fair for the fighters. Hackett emphasized that Crawford doesn't need Benavidez to prove himself, and noted that it could be physically risky for Benavidez to try to drop to 168 pounds after previously competing at 175.
Try to test his limits, and they think the money is going to keep getting him out there. That fight is pointless. The fight is pointless because nobody ever talked about that fight until now. And then I don't feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175.
Hackett went on to explain that the hype surrounding a potential Crawford-Benavidez matchup was largely exaggerated. In his view, Turki Alalshikh was using the conversation more to showcase his marketing skills than to set up a serious fight. Hackett did note, however, that boxing matches can be truly exciting when they're based on genuine competition rather than just publicity.
Benavidez had some tough tasks in front of him that he wanted to conquer before even talking like that. I don't even think he wanted to talk like that because there's really no point. He wanted the Canelo fight because Canelo was the man at 68. He was at 68. I don't think he cared about fighting Bud, and I don't think Bud cared about fighting Benavidez. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. So Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm.
One of the questions fans and experts raised after the fight was whether Crawford could successfully move up in weight class. Many commentators pointed out that he was already a 4-division world champion, though some argued that the label didn't tell the full story. Show the Adult, a boxing analyst and YouTube commentator, has frequently questioned whether Crawford's resume truly warrants all the attention he's been receiving. Some critics have suggested that Crawford hasn't faced enough elite competition or proven himself consistently against the very best opponents.
Crawford is top 4 greatest fighters of all time. Do you understand how improbable this is? I thought Bud had no chance. I lost 20 grand. Not only is Terence Crawford on my Mount Rushmore, like I've said, if he were to win, because the probability of him winning against all the odds, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see how at all.
The coverage didn't fully highlight the significance of this historic fight, which led even some of the sport's most celebrated figures to rethink their opinions. Crawford managed to make even his most loyal skeptics reconsider his impact in the ring. In the hours following the match, Chobies captured the moment on video, documenting Crawford's impressive performance so that it wouldn't be forgotten.
As he put together, that guy, he can face anybody in history and be a problem. Him right there. Not only that, I think this cements the fact that everybody avoided him. This right here answers everything. Not only is Terence Bud Crawford on my Mount Rushmore, but everybody avoided him. And that sheds more light on how he beat Errol Spence.
Crawford aimed to become the first boxer to hold all 4 major belts in 3 different weight classes, which meant moving up to 168 pounds and capturing all 4 titles. No one else has achieved that feat. So, while he may not technically be a 4-division undisputed champion, Crawford has still accomplished remarkable feats that set him apart. Many were surprised when Canelo Alvarez, speaking at the press conference after his majority decision loss to Crawford, didn't shy away from the question. Instead, he openly praised Crawford, acknowledging his superior performance.
Compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael shared his thoughts on the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. According to Rafael, who has covered the sport for decades, what stood out most was Crawford's ability to seize control in the later rounds. He noted that while Canelo had the edge in the opening rounds, Crawford's performance down the stretch was decisive.
Did a great job. I thought it was close. I had Canelo ahead in the early going, but I thought Crawford did an amazing job closing that fight down in the last few rounds, where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant...
Rafael's comments further highlighted the significance of Crawford's victory in boxing history. He admitted that while he hadn't initially wanted the fight, it was one he had long hoped to see and had worked hard to make happen. Rafael also pointed out that Crawford hadn't often had the opportunity to face larger opponents, as many doubted such matchups were even possible.
He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument that he's the greatest Mexican of all time, even more than Chavez. That said, he is in decline. He's been in decline for the last few years. He hasn't been what we've seen him at his best since he beat Caleb Plant, that Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Sanders time frame. And, even though he's winning fights, the knockouts haven't happened. He's gotten tired in the later part of the fights, and it's just common. It's the oldest saying in boxing: "Father Time is on the field."
Renowned boxing journalist and ringside commentator Sean Ziddle shared his thoughts on Terence Crawford's rising fame following his victory over Canelo Alvarez. Ziddle noted that he has long recognized Crawford as a talented fighter. Back in 2017, he even ranked him as the top pound-for-pound boxer. However, Ziddle admitted that he had never placed Crawford in the same tier as some of the sport's all-time greats.
Crawford, #1 pound for pound back in 2017. I always acknowledged him as the best counterpuncher in the game, one of the great counterpunchers. But I didn't see him as Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson. I didn't see him as that. I saw him as the tier of greats right below that. Oscar, Shane, Mike McCallum, guys like that. And it turns out, no. He's with the best of the best.
Ziddle also critiqued Crawford's technical performance in the fight against Canelo. He observed that Crawford absorbed Canelo's power with impressive ease and demonstrated a level of punch resistance rarely seen in this weight class. Ziddle noted that Canelo lost his rhythm as the fight progressed, while Crawford began the 3rd and 4th rounds with effective jabs and gradually took full control of the bout.
Effect on Crawford, I know Crawford felt it, but he had good punch resistance. He came up in weight beautifully. And then as time went on, his jab and his length, it's around that 3rd and 4th round, really started to give Canelo fits. And then, #1, his bread and butter, his gift. Yes, he's got great tactics, great distance control, efficient footwork. He doesn't, and he took the air out of the ball when he wanted to in this fight.
Before the fight even began, it was clear that Canelo Alvarez would rely on his size, experience, and power to dominate. Many people were drawn to the fact that Canelo had been a champion before and had a proven track record of performing under pressure. Despite being incredibly strong at super middleweight, Canelo's resilience shone through, especially after his loss to Terence Crawford. He took to Instagram after the fight, where he didn't dwell on the defeat but rather expressed his focus on moving forward. Instead of complaining, Canelo spoke about his future, the joy he felt seeing his team succeed, and the sacrifices he had made for them. He also shared his deep gratitude for his family and friends, who had stood by him through thick and thin. Reflecting on the loss, Canelo wrote, "I'm proud of everything I've achieved so far. Of course, everyone wants to win, but I'm at peace with this loss. I'm ready to learn from it. I'm thankful for my team and for the support I've received from my family, who have never wavered. He continued by thanking his wife, Fernanda, for her unwavering patience and support during these challenging times, adding, "I owe so much to my wife, Fernanda, for always being there for me. You've held my hand through it all, and I couldn't have asked for a better partner. Good luck in Mexico, Mom."
A 3-time undisputed champion, the first ever in the 2, 3, or 4 belt era, and you became the second undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only one champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
For years, boxing analysts and journalists dismissed Crawford, claiming he lacked the charisma to draw crowds and was only able to defeat lesser opponents. At the press conference, Crawford couldn't hold back his frustration, confronting those critics head-on. He's now on the sport's grandest stage, proving that not only was he capable of much more than they thought, but that their criticisms were completely off base.
And all of it all goes hand in hand.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have, you just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, you know, anybody can be a nobody, like I said, you know, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now?
When Canelo Alvarez, the reigning champion, stepped into the ring to defend his title, everything was at stake, not just the championship belts, but his legacy and reputation as well. A loss would mean more than just defeat. It would strip him of the aura that had defined his career in the end. Terence Crawford emerged victorious by unanimous decision, becoming the undisputed king of the middleweight division. The result cost Canelo all of his titles in that weight class and, to some extent, his standing in boxing history as the sport's dominant champion. Soon after the fight, Australian cruiserweight world champion Jay Opetaia shared his reaction. Speaking with evident respect, Opetaia praised Crawford's performance and said the outcome was fair and decisive.
Ammunition, bro. Too smart. Like, what a technician.
Are you shocked or not?
Not at all. Not at all. That's how I pictured the fight going. So I'll picture the fight going that way. Yeah, impressive. You know what I mean? Coming up from all those weight divisions. Hit and don't get hit. That's the aim of the game. Yeah. Puts him differently in their list, but he's in everyone's list. You know what I mean? He's deserved his respect. He's one of the greats. And that Crawford name, that last name, that's written down in history. So, good on him.
Opetaia went on to speak about Crawford's rapidly rising legacy, noting that while his dominance at this level was still relatively recent, the Nebraska native had already earned his place among boxing's all-time greats. According to Opetaia, Crawford has now secured the respect of the global boxing community, his name etched permanently into the sport's rich history.
Fight, I was hoping that there was more action coming from Canelo. You know, I'm used to Canelo fighting that way all the time. You know, he tried his best. You know, he always has trouble against movers. I was really expecting them to be more punches, more movement by Canelo. Yeah, I mean, it was a situation where he's, you know, Terence Crawford's a tactician, and he throws combinations and he moves, and then, you know, if you try and exchange with him, he's gone already. So you gotta be fast, you gotta punch him when he's punching you.
Beating Canelo Alvarez was never an easy task. His power and toughness made him a nearly unbeatable opponent unless his rival could match his strength. Early in the fight, it was clear that Canelo's body shots still carried their trademark sting, especially when he managed to close the distance on Crawford. When asked for his thoughts on the stunning Canelo versus Crawford matchup, former heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis offered a candid assessment. He praised the bout overall but felt that Alvarez didn't show his usual intensity. Lewis explained that he expected the Mexican superstar to increase his punch output and fight with more urgency. He also pointed out that Canelo has historically struggled against fighters with smooth, adaptable styles like Crawford's.
It's a couple, about many times, and I thought that this time he just boxed like he always boxes. And then I felt he couldn't really do nothing against Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford was too quick, too elusive. You know, anybody would find trouble with him, but Canelo couldn't find him. For Canelo to win a round, I say he won about 3 rounds in that fight. I was actually amazed at the way how Terence Crawford moved and never got hit, and threw combinations because that's what you're supposed to do, throw combinations. So he threw combinations. He wasn't trying to knock out Canelo, but he definitely was throwing a lot of punches,
After Canelo Alvarez's defeat to Terence Crawford, Lennox Lewis shared his honest take on the match. He explained that he had seen Canelo perform in a similar manner before, steady, calculated, and confident, but felt that Crawford's unique style demanded more adaptability. According to Lewis, Canelo struggled to assert himself because Crawford's sharp defense and lightning-fast reflexes made it difficult for him to connect cleanly or dictate the pace of the fight.
People, it's the morning after the big fight. Crawford Canelo. Shout outs to Crawford. You did it, boy. You did it. For those who still aren't quite sure what they witnessed last night, I'm gonna let you know that you witnessed what is called a notorious boxing clinic. This is everything done right.
Most observers agreed that it wasn't Canelo's lack of power that cost him the fight, but rather Crawford's superior speed, timing, and ring intelligence. Crawford consistently made Canelo miss, leaving him off balance and unable to find his rhythm. Although Canelo landed several heavy punches, many of them came when Crawford allowed him to close the distance, a calculated risk that ultimately favored the American fighter. Former unified welterweight champion Keith Thurman described Crawford's performance as a masterclass in boxing. He emphasized that it wasn't just a victory, but a showcase of elite fundamentals, precise timing, patience, and control under pressure. Thurman noted that few expected.
This was a notorious hit and don't get hit. That's boxing 101, people. It's actually the definition of boxing. For those who don't know the definition of boxing, it's to hit and not get hit. It's almost like a game of tag, to simplify it for you folks. All right? And yes, Crawford was tagging him. Not just with the jab, moving, but he was able to do another key factor, which is
Crawford's victory didn't just shift the championship belts. It redefined the narrative of who truly reigns as the super middleweight king. For Canelo Alvarez, the loss cast uncertainty over his future. At 34, after years of grueling battles and dominance across divisions, this defeat could mark a crucial crossroads in his storied career. Whether he decides to rebuild at a new weight class or push for a rematch, his next move will define the final chapters of his legacy. Canelo was forced to confront a hard truth. On one of boxing's grandest stages, a quicker, sharper, and undefeated opponent had outboxed him. When Terence Crawford was later asked about handling Canelo's notorious punching power at super middleweight, he stayed composed. Crawford acknowledged that Canelo presented a new kind of challenge, but calmly reminded everyone that he'd faced and beaten tough, heavy hitters before, and this was no different. Former world champion Timothy Bradley Jr. also weighed in, calling the Canelo vs. Crawford bout one of the most significant fights in recent memory. He emphasized that the stakes went far beyond belts or records.